Don't look at its eyes." That was the last thing Noah said to me. He had a laugh that broke in the middle, like it tripped. He didn't laugh when he said that. I still hear it when my ceiling light hums and clicks like it's trying to decide if it wants to work. I'm writing this because I don't know what else to do. I slept an hour last night, maybe 2. My hands shake when I type. My name doesn't matter. I'm the guy who lived in North Hall, 3rd floor, room 316. That's enough. If you're in the dorms, or you eat in the dining hall, or you walk past the science building at night, this is for you. I wish someone had told me earlier. I wish I had listened harder. It started small, a thing you talk yourself out of. Wednesday morning, I sat in ethics, back row by the window. Professor Dale talked about duty and harm, and what we owe strangers. His voice is dry and slow, the kind that makes you check your phone even when you're trying not to. I looked past his shoulder because the sun hit the glass. I saw a man on the lawn. He stood straight. He wore a dark jacket. He had no eyes. Not like torn out, just flat. A skin-colored blank where eyes should be. No sockets, no lids. Like someone forgot that part of his face. I looked harder. The lawn had people on blankets. 2 guys threw a frisbee. There were bikes. No one turned. No one slowed. The man with the empty eyes was 10 feet from a girl taking a selfie. He didn't move. He didn't blink because he couldn't. "Do you see that?" I whispered. The girl next to me raised one eyebrow. "See what?" She scrolled. The room felt smaller. I looked again. He was closer to the window. Like the distance changed while I blinked. I said I felt sick. I got up. No one looked at me except Dale, and he said, "Bathroom?" with that tone like you're being dramatic on purpose. I walked fast down the hall. I pulled out my phone and aimed at the lawn. The camera showed glare and grass and a trash can with a bag sticking out. "No, man." I lowered the phone. He was there. I raised it again. He wasn't. My thumb shook. I took 5 pictures. All empty. I went back in and sat. I didn't learn anything that day. At lunch, I told Noah. He was my roommate. He had the bottom bunk and kept a towel on his pillow for the sweat at night. He said the insomnia was from energy drinks. I think it was something else. He looked at my photos. "You need food, man," he said. "Eat something real." He peeled a clementine at my desk. He did that when he got nervous. His hands were always busy. He didn't joke. That bothered me. That night, I heard the hall lights flick and hum. The dorm has those long bulbs that go dull at the ends. They were old even when I moved in. I brushed my teeth at 2 a.m. The mirror was streaked. A boy with a blanket around his shoulders used the urinal. I spit. The door opened by itself. Like the latch clicked. Not a person. Just the door. The hall looked empty and yellow. I felt cold even though the heater pounded like it was angry. I dried my face. When I looked in the mirror again, the sinks behind me were empty, except they weren't. In the mirror, something stood where the paper towel bin was. It had a dark jacket. It had a blank face. It was turned a little like it listened. When I turned around, only the bin was there. I didn't go back to the bathroom alone after that. I texted my friend group. 3 guys from my freshman seminar and the girl from bio who laughed at my jokes. I wrote, "Weird thing. You ever see anyone with no eyes on the quad?" It said delivered. Then I got 2 typing bubbles and then they went away. One guy sent a GIF. It was a cartoon of a man with spaghetti instead of eyes. I forced a laugh. I wrote, "No, like for real." No one answered. The next morning, the messages above mine were gone. Like the thread stitched itself closed. When I scrolled, it jumped back to September. I went to campus police after my comp lit class. The officer at the desk had coffee and a crossword. He didn't look up when I stopped talking. I told the whole thing, even the bathroom mirror. "I know how that sounds." He sighed. He said they couldn't do much based on a vibe. He told me about counseling. He slid a card to me with a number. The card was damp on one corner. He said midterms mess with sleep. He said he knew a guy who thought a raccoon followed him for a month. "They're nocturnal," he said. He laughed into his coffee. I left. Back in my room, the door lock didn't catch. It had that soft click that means you can push it open with a shoulder. I tried my key 3 times. It went from red to green even when I didn't put it all the way in. Noah wasn't there. His bed was made, which meant nothing. He only made it when he was gone for a while. The towel on his pillow was dry and folded. He must have left early. The next days blur. I say days because the lights kept changing on me. I slept in the library once because the dorm felt wrong. The library has this open floor with rows. You can hear people whisper. You can hear pages turn. The lights tick sometimes. That night they ticked a lot. I saw him between stacks in the reflection of the window when it got dark outside. When I turned, there were only books. A girl coughed somewhere. I stood up. 2 guys laughed at their table. There was a security guard by the entrance. He picked something from his teeth. The man with the empty eyes stood by the circulation desk. He didn't turn. He didn't walk. He was just closer. Like I was bringing him with my eyes. I said the first prayer I remembered from being a kid. The words felt wrong in my mouth. I packed fast. My hands knocked my water bottle onto the floor. It rolled in a straight line toward the desk and hit a chair and stopped. No one noticed me moving too fast. I took the back stairs. Those are metal and echo like a drum. The light in the stairwell fluttered and the sound got watery, like I was underwater. In the landing mirror, I saw a shoulder behind me that wasn't mine. My throat closed. I ran. That's when I met her. I hit the door at the bottom and almost fell into her. She had dark hair pulled back and a nose that looked like it had been broken once. She wore a campus male polo. The color was faded early morning blue. She said, "You saw it." Not a question. Her eyes were steady. She had a scar in her eyebrow. I grabbed the handrail. "What?" I said. It came out a breath. "The blank man," she said. She said it like she was saying the weather. "I've been watching for who else sees." She told me her name was Mara. She wasn't a student. She was a temp who did mail runs for the science buildings. She said she noticed things when the campus went quiet. I told her about the quad and the bathroom and the library. I didn't tell her about how scared I felt because it was already obvious. She nodded a lot. She didn't touch me. She kept her hands in her jacket pockets, which were bulky. I wondered what she kept in there. Tools? A taser? Snacks? I don't know why my brain went to snacks. Maybe I was hungry. "Don't look at its eyes," she said. "If you do, it gets in." "What is it?" I asked. She shook her head. "It doesn't matter," she said. "It wasn't from here. Don't name it. Don't tell it about yourself. Don't answer if it knocks." "Does it knock?" I said. She looked at the door like she could hear something through it. "Sometimes," she said, "it learns." We sat on the stairs until my stomach stopped jumping. She said she could show me a place where it didn't go. Old building. Stone chapel by the theater. The bells mess with it. She watched me when she said that. I nodded. I didn't ask how she knew. I didn't want to hear a bad story. She told me to look down when we walked. Just look at shoes and listen, she said. The eyes take too much. We headed out. The air had that cut smell before it snows, even though snow wasn't in the forecast. We walked side by side. I kept my gaze on her feet. Her laces were frayed white. Mine were dirty. The pavement had tiny pebbles stuck in the tar lines. I watched each one. Every now and then my eyes wanted to slide up. Don't! Don't! I kept them down. We passed people. I heard someone laugh with a mouth full of something, the way it muffles. A bike wheel clicked like a cart in spokes. I felt watched from a direction I couldn't place. It pressed on my cheek, like a hand about to touch. I walked faster. Mara slowed. If you run, it runs, she said, and her voice made me slow again. The chapel was older than the other buildings. Real stone, not fake. It had a heavy door and a green patina on the handle. It clanged when she pulled it. The inside smelled like dust and lemon polish. The air felt layered, like quiet stacked on quiet. It was empty except for rows of chairs and a piano. The piano had keys like teeth. I thought that, and then I shook my head to shake the image out. It doesn't like bells, Mara said. She walked up to the rope at the back and pulled. It didn't move. It's stuck, she said, and then she laughed once, a fast breath. Of course. We sat on the floor with our backs to the wall. My phone had 3 bars and then 0 and then 1 with no data. I tried to text Noah. You up? It spun and didn't send. Mara watched the aisle like a cat watching a crack under a door. Who told you about it? I said. My brother, she said. He used to work nights in maintenance. He saw it a lot. He's gone now. She said it like she was telling me where he moved. Then her mouth pressed flat, and I understood what she meant by gone. You ever look? I said. She shook her head. Not and remember it, she said. I didn't like that answer. I changed the subject. We talked about stupid stuff for a bit. Food. Socks. The way the showers always had hair in the drain, no matter what day it was. She laughed once when I told her Noah's towel thing. Then she got quiet. Don't say his name, she said. It knows names. She had that careful voice again. I shut my mouth. We stayed until I needed a bathroom, and she said I'd be fine if I went quick and didn't check the mirror. I didn't check. I looked at the floor tiles and the water on my hands, and that's it. Around 3, the chapel heater did that ping-ping sound that old metal does. The empty lights overhead flickered, but held. My phone died even though it was at 45% a minute before. I felt it go, that tiny buzz in your hand that means power, and then nothing. Empty. We went back at 4 because I had class and she had a route. She said we were safer together. I believed her. I wanted to. On the way to the quad, we passed a group of theater kids doing warm-ups in a circle. They made that blub-blub sound with their lips. The sound felt too loud. My skin crawled. A guy from my floor waved at me with just his fingers and then looked away when our eyes almost met. Like he didn't want to admit he knew me. That stung, and I don't know why it stuck with me. Outside the student center, the man with the empty eyes stood by the doors. People walked through him. No one bumped. They moved like water around a rock. His jacket had no wrinkles. His hair was cropped too neat. His mouth wasn't quite a mouth. More like a line that wasn't finished. He turned the not mouth toward us as we walked. I looked at shoes. I looked at the gum crushed into the sidewalk. Mara's hand touched my sleeve for a second. Just 2 fingers. Quick. It felt like electricity. Not bad. Just too much. Inside, we sat by the window. I watched the glass reflection and tried to eat a slice of pizza. It tasted cold, even though it was hot. Mara looked at the reflection too. She said, "Don't use your phone." I said, "Okay." She went to get napkins and didn't come back right away. When she did, her cheeks were paler. She set the napkins down like her hand hurt. "We need to move," she said. "Somebody said your name at the info desk." "Who?" I said. She shook her head. "He had no eyes," she said. Her mouth twitched. I don't know how he said anything, but I heard it. It sounded like when a radio can't find a station. I followed her. We went out the side door by the vending machines. One machine had a light out. The other buzzed, and the sound went right through my teeth. It buzzed harder when we passed. I told myself it was wires. I told myself not to make everything into something. Mara said we needed the tunnels. I said we don't have tunnels. She said every campus did. She said she had a key card from her brother. She showed me a scuffed lanyard with a badge that wasn't hers. She swiped it at a door in the theater lobby. It stayed red. She swiped again. It went green. The lock clacked, but didn't open. She swore. She swiped a third time, and it stayed green, and the handle moved even though it shouldn't have. That scared me more than the man. Doors aren't supposed to do that. They obey. That one didn't obey. We went down concrete stairs that smelled like old water and paint. The light flickered and buzzed and then settled into a hum that felt like a deep breath from the building. It was cold. I could see my own breath. The tunnel had pipes overhead and a line on the floor. It ran yellow and then red and then yellow. We walked fast and the sound of our steps doubled back at us. "Why here?" I said. "Because you can't see the sky," she said. "It likes the sky." We reached a metal door with a window. The window was wired glass. She swiped and it opened. The room had metal shelves and a rolling cart and a mop bucket with gray water. There was a switchboard on the wall. The switches had labels like Lib 2A and Dorm N3 and Bell. The bell switch had black tape over it. Mara took a roll of duct tape from her jacket. "We'll make noise," she said. "If it knocks, we won't hear." "I thought we don't answer knocks," I said. "We don't," she said. "We just don't hear them either." I watched the door. There was a small window in it too, like a porthole. It showed the tunnel light. It flickered and then went steady. I tried to call Noah again out of habit. My phone stayed dead. It didn't even flash the battery icon. I put it face down. My throat hurt from not saying his name. I shouldn't have told Mara when I first met her. I regretted that. It felt like I had handed something important to someone who wasn't ready to hold it. The first knock was soft. Not like a person. More like a hand with gloves. Careful. Testing. It came from the tunnel side. Then it stopped. We looked at each other. "Don't," she said. The second knock was louder and closer to the porthole. My chest felt tight. The third was on the opposite wall, by the switchboard. There was no door there. I watched the metal as if it could bulge. It didn't. "Yell for help," I said. "I don't know why." Mara shook her head. "Help makes it show off," she said. We sat on the floor with our backs to the shelf. The duct tape roll looked heavy. She held it on her knee. The heater in the room clanked to life and then stopped. My teeth hurt again. The porthole went darker for a second, like someone stood very close to it. I didn't look. I stared at the tape in her hands. She said, "You're doing good." Her voice was a little too bright. "I don't think it comes for me," she said after a minute. "I think it comes for you." "Why?" I said, and it wasn't a question. It came out flat. "You looked," she said. "So did you," I said. She looked at her hands. "I don't remember," she said, and there was something wrong in the way she said it. I swallowed. The room got colder. My breath looked like smoke from a small fire. The duct tape creaked as Mara squeezed it. The porthole went dark again. I tried to imagine I was anywhere else. A bus. A boring lecture. A grocery store. It didn't help. The knock came from the door again, hard this time, 3 times, precise. Like how a professor knocks when you keep them waiting. Knock! 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 The sound went through me. I heard something under it, like static from an old TV. "Don't look," Mara said. "Don't." Then it spoke. Through the door. Through the porthole. Through the air. It said my name. It said it in the radio voice. It said, "Let me in," like it learned the shape of words by feeling them. My stomach turned. It knocked again, soft. Then it said, "Noah," in my voice. I stood up without meaning to. My chair legs scraped the floor. Mara grabbed my sleeve. Her fingers dug in. "Hey," she whispered, like she did with dogs in the street. Gentle, firm. "Hey, sit down." My throat hurt. "He's out there," I said. "He needs me." She shook her head. "He told you not to look," she said. "Remember?" I did. It was the last thing he said. He said it in the hallway on Sunday night when the fire alarms went off for no reason. He pulled me out of bed and we ran barefoot down the stairs and the lights strobed and I saw the blank man on the landing and I looked away because Noah grabbed my jaw and turned it. He said, "Don't look at its eyes," and then Monday morning he was just gone. His towel folded, his bed made. I told myself he went home. I told myself he dropped out. I didn't ask his RA because I didn't want to hear that no one remembered him. I kept his toothbrush in the holder like it meant something. I had been pretending all week. I stopped pretending then. "I have to see," I said. "I have to know." Mara let go of my sleeve. She looked at the door. She looked at me. "No," she said, and then she said, softer, "Okay." She stood up. "We'll do it my way," she said. "You stand behind me. You don't look above my shoulder. If I say down, you look at your shoes. If I say run, you run and you don't wait." "I won't leave you," I said. She smiled with only half her mouth. "You might have to," she said. She walked to the door. She touched the handle like it might be hot. She breathed in. The knocking stopped. It was quiet. Too quiet. I heard my own pulse in my ears. She looked at me and nodded. I nodded back. She opened the door. The tunnel was empty. The light flickered and then went steady. The air felt packed, like the room had bodies in it and it didn't, and I couldn't say that out loud because it would make it bigger. I stepped behind Mara. I kept my eyes at the level of her shoulders. Her jacket had a small tear on the seam. She took one step out, then another, then a third. She stopped. "It's right here," she said, very quietly. I felt it then, the way you feel a hand come close to your face. The air shifted. The hair on my arms lifted. It said my name again. Closer. Right at my ear. It made the sound the vending machine made when it buzzed, but under that, the shape of my name. It felt like a needle through cloth. "Down," Mara said. I stared at my shoes. Her sneaker toe pointed left. Mine pointed straight. The floor had a chip in it shaped like a comma. I focused on it like it would save me. Something brushed my hair. My eyes watered. "Run," Mara said. I ran. I ran like the floor would drop if I stepped wrong. I ran toward the light at the end of the tunnel that went up. A flight of steps and a door, and maybe air that wasn't heavy. I heard Mara behind me for 2 steps. Then I didn't. I stopped. I couldn't make myself keep going. I turned. She wasn't there. The tunnel looked shorter and then longer, like it was breathing. I looked up too far. I saw the blank face inches from mine. The not mouth was still. Where the eyes should have been was smooth. But I felt it look at me anyway. It made a sound, like a radio turning past stations and stopping on static. It didn't touch me. It didn't have to. My chest moved in a way that wasn't mine. I heard my own voice say, "Let me in," very soft, like testing a door. I stepped back until my heel bent my shoe. I couldn't stop. I put my foot on the first stair up. My legs shook. I didn't blink. If I blinked, I thought it would be closer. "Mara," I said. It came out wrong. Like it wasn't my voice either. I didn't know where she had gone. I don't know now. The floor hummed. The light hummed. The thing tilted its head like I was interesting. Then it turned its blank toward something behind me. It looked at the door by the stairs like it heard a bell I didn't hear. For 1 second, far away, the chapel bell rang. Just one. A dull, wrong note, like a cough. Maybe the tape slipped. Maybe it was a truck backfiring and my brain fixed it. I don't care. The thing turned its face the other way, like it was listening. I moved. I moved before it moved. I ran up the stairs until my knees burned. The door at the top should have been locked. It wasn't. I pushed through and fell into the daylight. I stood on the side of the theater and threw up in the bushes. A boy smoked nearby. He looked at his phone and not at me. I wiped my mouth and spit on the mulch and cried without making a sound. My phone turned on in my pocket and vibrated once. 5 new texts from numbers I didn't know. All of them empty bubbles with no messages. I deleted them. They came back. I threw the phone hard. It hit the concrete and the screen spidered. It kept vibrating anyway. I went back to North Hall at sunset because I didn't know where else to go. My card opened the door on the first swipe and then didn't. I pushed, and the latch gave like someone had their hand on the other side and then moved it. The hall lights flickered and hissed. Someone's door was propped with a shoe. Music played in another room. I could hear laughter and a sentence about a lab report. "No, just make it up," a guy said, bored. It made me want to scream. My room was the same as I left it. Except the towel was gone from Noah's pillow. His toothbrush was gone too. The cup had only mine. I checked my desk drawer. His notebook wasn't there. I checked under the bed. Nothing. The dust was smooth, like nobody had moved anything. If I hadn't kept a photo of his shoes by the door, I would have thought I imagined him. I stared at the photo and I waited for the shoes to go missing in it. They didn't. Small favors. I went to the RA. He's a kid like me with a polo and a key ring that looks important. He said he didn't remember a Noah on our floor. He said the housing list didn't have that name. He held the list up like proof. I wanted to rip it. I didn't. I went to the desk in the lobby. The woman there smiled with her mouth only. She said if my roommate moved out, I'd get an email. My inbox had nothing from housing. It had 2 messages from my mom and 1 from a professor who called me by the wrong name. I wrote back to my mom. Fine. Busy. I didn't send the rest. She sent a heart. I stared at it too long. I slept with my light on. It popped and went out at 3:12 a.m. I watched the ceiling and counted my breaths until morning. I didn't go to class. I went to the chapel. The door was locked. The bell rope was cut. The snap looked clean. I stood there with my hand on the handle until my fingers hurt. Then I went to work study and filed forms for 3 hours that felt like a minute and a day. I haven't seen Mara again. I asked a few people in mail if they knew her. They said there was a Mara last year. Maybe. But she quit. One guy said, "Who?" like the syllables were hard. I walked by the theater and looked at the stair door. It had a different lock on it. New. Shiny. I don't think it'll matter. The thing still shows up. In reflections. In windows, on buses as they pass. In the glare on my laptop screen when I forget and sit with my back to the light. No one else turns. No one else slows. Sometimes I think I hear a knock at night. Sometimes it's the heater. Sometimes it's my neighbor's bed hitting the wall. I don't check. I sit on the floor with my back to my bed and my forehead on my knees, and I try to think of anything else. I like to think about the way the grass on the quad feels when you lay down and put your arm over your eyes and pretend you're somewhere else. I can't do that anymore. I stay inside when I can see the sky. I walk under the eaves. This is the part I'm not proud of. I ran and I didn't go back. I left Mara in that tunnel. I tell myself she told me to run. I tell myself the bell saved me and would have saved her if she followed. I tell myself a lot of things. It doesn't help. Her fingers on my sleeve felt like a promise I broke. I can still feel the pressure if I close my eyes. I don't close them much. If you see it, don't look at its eyes. Don't answer if it says your name at the door. It will learn your voice. It will learn your route. It will make your friends bored of you. They will forget your jokes. Faculty will recommend counseling and then forget they did. Locks will turn when they shouldn't. Lights will make a sound like breathing. You will think you are paranoid. You are, and you should be. Sometimes I hear one bell, far away, even when the schedule says there are no bells at that time. It's always one. It scratches the air like a fork on a plate. I don't know if it's for me. I hope it's for someone who is braver. I hope it is time for this to be over, but I don't think it is. I'm still here. I keep moving. I keep my head down. I am tired, like a stone is tired. Survival felt emptier than death would have. That's honest. The last thing I wrote when I paused just now was nothing. I stared at the cursor, stuttering like a tiny, dying light. The hall outside makes a soft, steady sound. Knock, 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 knock. Don't just sit there. Subscribe. Hit like. That's how you show me you're still out there. Do it now, before the next story starts without you. See you in the next one.